Welcome to YOGATX. My name is Savannah. I'm a yoga teacher and yoga therapist, an overall curious mover, and I just really love breathing. So you're going to bring a lot of attention to your breath today in hopes that by regulating the breath in the abdomen, the back, and even the back body will help us drop into our hips and be a little bit more conscious about the way we move and how we're moving. So we're going to start seated today. If you'd like, you can take a block. I have a block underneath me. That just helps elevate my hips a little bit more than my knees and allows my pelvis to feel more comfortable, at ease, and movable. We always want a movable pelvis since that's the base of our spine. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and find your seat. We'll start simply by bringing our hands down to our low abdomen. Just a gentle touch there. Softening the eyes. Maybe to a gaze a few feet in front of your body, or if you feel like it, possibly closing the eyes completely. It's totally natural for us to withhold our belly back and to constrict the sides and the front of our abdomen. So as you bring your hands down to your abdomen, think of it as just a place to draw attention to. Feeling the subtle warmth of your palms or your fingers. Inviting the belly to soften. Maybe even feeling with your next breath in the abdomen expanding into the palms towards that warmth. And on the exhale, reversing that motion by gradually drawing the abdomen back away from the hands. Trying that again as you breathe in. Could you feel the belly expand towards the hands? The breath drops low to expand. And on the exhale, gradually drawing the abdomen back towards the spine. We'll try that 2 more times together. Inhaling through the nose, following the path of the breath down to the abdomen where it expands. And gently drawing navel towards spine. Once more, breathing in through the nostrils. Belly expands wide and forward. Breathing out, a gentle sense of engagement in the lower abdomen. And keeping your eyes closed, or maybe opening them here, we'll mimic the motion of our abdomen with our hands. So with your next inhale, as the belly starts to move forward and out, we'll bring our hands down and out. On the exhale, as the abdomen draws back, draw the hands back to the low belly. Breathing in through the nose, the abdomen expands forward and out. The arms mimic that motion. Exhale, arms mimicking the motion of the belly, gently withdrawing back. Once more. This time as you exhale, draw the hands to the low ribs. The same way you felt your abdomen expand into the hands, can you feel the low ribs expand into the hands? Breathing in through the nose, low ribs widen. On the exhale, the ribs gently hug back towards the midline. And we'll continue with that arm motion, breathing in as the ribs widen forward and to the side. Let the arms mimic that a little wider and higher. Exhale, gently placing the fingertips on the ribs, feeling that last bit of breath move out of the body. 2 more times like so. And allowing space to notice if this is difficult or different. Noticing whatever there is to notice. And as you breathe out, bringing one hand to the front of the low ribs and one hand to the back side of the low ribs. You'll want the hands just about parallel, like you were sandwiching yourself between your palms, but not pressing in too deep. Now as you breathe in, keep the breath dropping down into the lower 2/3 of the torso, but notice if you can feel the abdomen and the ribs expand backwards as well. Emptying all the breath out here. Breathing in through the nose, feeling just as much expansion into that hand behind you as you might feel in the hand in front of you. Noticing how the pelvis might drop or feel a bit more grounded as you do so, and then breathing out. We'll take 2 more breaths like that. Maybe you mimic the arm motion as you inhale, front palm moves forward, back hand moves back. Exhale, palms come back to where they were. And again, breathing into the backhand just as much as you would breathe into the front of the ribs. And exhaling to draw it in. We'll try and keep that same sense of awareness in the back of the ribs as the front of the ribs, but if you have a block underneath the hips, go ahead and take that out and set it to the side. Let's go ahead and sit into more of a Z shape here. So I'm gonna bring a bend into my left knee and my right knee. The left foot will be close to touching the right thigh, or maybe touching completely. The right foot is kicking back behind my right hip. And as I take a breath in, I'm gonna experiment with unweighting out of my hands and reaching both arms up on the inhale. As you breathe out, make a small twist towards the left. The right hand will land on the left thigh. The left hand might land on the back side. Breathing into the ribs, reach both arms up. One more time, exhaling to twist towards the left. Let the hands land, gazing over the left shoulder. The breath will begin first, and as the inhale develops, go ahead and let the arms lift up, torso fills up. One more time, we'll twist and pause. Stay here for 3 breaths in and 3 breaths out, feeling the full circumference of the rib cage expand to the sides, back, and behind you. Completing your exhale before you begin the next breath in. And then breathing in, come back forward. We'll make a little switch by sealing our feet down to the ground and turning the knees over towards the right. Right foot will come into close contact with the left thigh. You can make a little shift and wiggle with your pelvis to find your place of comfort. When you're ready, breathing in, the arms will extend up softly. As you exhale, make a soft twist to the right, landing the right hand behind you and the left hand near the right thigh. As the inhale fills you up, come back forward, float the arms up. Exhale, gentle engagement through the low abdomen as you twist. And as the hands land, maybe gazing over the right shoulder. We'll try that one more time before we pause and stay with the breath. When you pause here, make any little shift or wiggle that you might need so that your breath can fully develop and express itself in that lower 2/3 of your torso. Back sides of the ribs stretching behind you. And always finishing that exhale before you begin that next breath in. Breathing in, we'll pivot back forward. Go ahead and plant the feet down. Extend the right leg out to the side. Pull the left foot in towards the midline of your body. When you're positioning your feet like this, just take your right leg far enough out to feel the beginning of a stretch in the inner right leg. We'll take a breath in, floating the arms out to the side and up by the ears again. As you exhale, turn your chest towards the right toes, let the hands land, bow the head forward. Finding a rotation back forward as you breathe in so that your shoulders are pointing in the same direction as your hips. Exhale, turn towards that right leg, plant the hands, let the head drop down, chin to chest. Breathing in, rise up. Turn forward again, maybe you gaze up. On this time, as you breathe out, let the hands land. Bring a little bit of a bend into that right knee. Draw the chin towards the chest, allowing the head to hang heavy here. Slightly press into your fingertips to puff up the back side of the body. With your next 2 to 4 breaths, taking your attention again to the ability to expand the back of the ribs just as much as you might expand into the front of the torso. Lifting yourself back up, let's plant the left hand on the outside of the left hip. Turn the right toes down so that that whole right foot is flat on the mat or the floor. With your next breath in, push into the left hand. Lift the hips off of the mat, grounding down through the left shin, the right foot, reaching the right arm over the right ear. On this exhale, softly sit the hips back down. You might bend the right knee to help you get there. And we'll bring the hands back around the right leg and bow down. Breathing in, left hand plants behind the left hip. Bring the right arm over the right ear. Lift the hips forward and up. Exhale, softly setting the pelvis down. Bringing the hands back and around the right leg. Taking that bow forward towards the right knee. We'll try that 2 more times with your breath. Think of the breath and the body almost as if you were being a bit of an air bender. Allow the joints in the hands, the wrists, the elbows, shoulders, hips, and knees to all be soft and receptive to the movement. Anytime you find yourself locking out a joint, it's almost like you're locking out a communication center within the body. When the joints are soft, we have more options for movement. Releasing the pelvis down, let's step the right foot on the inside of the left shin. Try and ground down that right sits bones towards the floor. Right sits bones is just the boniest part of your right butt cheek. And if that works, get it down there. If it doesn't, just see if you can drop a little bit more weight into that right side of your hip. If you're like, I've been here before, I want some more, or you're curious about another movement option, you might choose to bring the right foot on the other side of the left thigh. We'll take our right hand, plant it behind the right hip. Breathe in to reach up through the left arm. As you exhale, turn from your chest towards the right. Softly set the left elbow down on top of the right knee. Think about grounding down into the knee with the elbow to rise up. Take your gaze over the right shoulder. Take your inner gaze to the back side of the rib cage. Softening the eyes for 3 breaths, feeling the backs of the ribs expand and contract with each inhale and exhale. Pausing to notice one more breath. What could you soften? Breathing in, we'll come back forward. Swivel that right leg back forward, left foot plants. We'll bring the right heel in and extend the left leg out. When you get here, again, check in with that inner side of the left thigh. You only want to take it out as wide as you feel the beginning of your stretch. We'll start with a fresh breath in, floating the arms forward and up. As you exhale, turn your chest towards the left knee. Let the hands land wherever they do. Bow the head down. Just dipping our toes into the stretch at first. Inhaling to rise back up. Turn the shoulders back in the same direction as the hips where we started. As you exhale, making that little rotation towards the left, bowing the head down, releasing the hands wherever they choose to land. Taking that 2 more times. And I invite you to notice what would happen if you were to give your left knee a little bit of a bend as you bow down. Oftentimes we think of bending the knee as a modification or something to make a movement easier, but really what that does is it just gives more movement options to the pelvis and the lower back. We'll pause where we are with more of a bend in that left knee, drawing the chin in, bowing the head down, using the tips of our fingers to press the floor away, puffing out the middle of our back for 3 to 4 inhales through the nose. Exhaling through the nose or pursed lips. Noticing if on your next exhale, you might be able to release a little bit more weight of your head down towards the ground. And then breathing in as you rise up. Start to turn the left toes down. We'll plant the right hand behind our right hip. Draw the left arm over the left ear. Press down through the right shin. Hips drive forward to lift the pelvis up. On this exhale or next, take your time lowering the hips back down. Turn your chest towards the left thigh, planting the hands, making a little lower down. Now 1 breath, 1 movement. Can you savor the inhale, planting the right hand behind the right hip, lifting left arm over the ear, hips lift up. Lengthening the exhale to last the entire movement back down and around as you fold over the left leg. And then taking it at the speed of your breath in and your breath out. Finishing the round that you're on, bringing that left foot to plant on the inside of the right knee, dropping that left hip heavy towards the ground. If that works, maybe stepping it over the right thigh. And then reminding yourself, because I can tell, even though I can do this, doesn't mean that I should, because it kind of locks my hips out and I feel less movement available, that go to the place where you feel most free to breathe and move. Take a breath in, left hand plants behind you, right arm reaches up. On the exhale, right elbow to left knee. Instead of hooking it on the other side and torquing through the spine, think about grounding down to rise up. Transferring the gaze over the left shoulder, staying light in that left wrist. Sending the breath to the back of the ribs here. Taking an intentionally long exhale out. One more full breath. And inhaling to come back. Connecting the soles of the feet together. Drop your right forearm or your right elbow near the right thigh. So you can either ground it into the thigh or you can line it up with the shin. Hold your right foot. Take a breath in. Reach the left arm up. Gaze up to your fingers. Exhale, left forearm to left thigh or in line with your shin. Breathe in. Right arm reaches up. Follow the gaze up. Exhale, right arm comes back down. We'll try that one more time on each side, keeping the movement lined up with the breath. Inhaling to reach up and look up. Exhaling to pull it back down. Taking a final ground down here, shifting the heels a little bit away from the hips or the hips a bit away from the heels, allowing your back to puff out, dropping the weight of the head. Grounding the back of the hips down towards the mat. Taking 2 complete breaths here. Rising back up. Plant the hands behind you, and before you leave the mat, we'll do a last little rinse out of the hips, planting the feet a little wider, taking the knees almost in like a windshield wipe motion. So they point to one side, the feet flatten, and they turn to point to the other side. Take it nice and slow, and if you are experimenting with increasing the load in your hip joints, you might bring your hands away from the mat and try it with your hands at the center of your chest. You'll notice I'm kind of like scooching forward as I do so. And coming back through center, bring your feet together, give your back a little round, hug it in. Crossing the ankles, coming back to a seat, softening the eyes. Taking 2 breaths, just because we can. Thank you so much for dropping into your hips, becoming curious about the breath, and noticing what is available to you in the movement sphere and how you might thank your body for giving you those options in the first place. It's always a pleasure to practice. Namaste.